Hello, my name is James Mahoney. I am a dungeon master and player of Dungeons and Dragons. I started playing I wanted to play when I was really young, but I didn't get started until I was about 17 when I realized I was never going to play unless I initiated a game myself, started running it myself. So I bought the red box basic set, quickly moved into the expert set, and then I had a friend that was giving up D&D and gave me a bunch of advanced Dungeons and Dragon books. So then I slowly started to incorporate some of those rules into my campaigns. For me, biggest challenge with D&D, I was around any other Dungeon and Dragon players, is that they battled over rules a lot, and that was not interesting to me. It's hard enough to get a group together for 3 or 4 hours, let alone have people, battling over rules and who's smartest for a third of it. Yeah, so I started running a game for my brother, his girlfriend, and his best friend, and it was great. And I fell in love with dungeon mastering at that point. We played for a year or two. I think we got to like level 8, and then I didn't play again for a while. A guy found out that I had played D&D, asked if I'd run one, so I started running a group in my late 20s for a friend, 2 friends from work, a guy from a theater production I was in, and another guy, an actor actually, another guy. That was awesome. They were either evil or chaotic characters. So then my main guy I created was a paladin who was hunting them. So that was an awesome time. We played for a little while. And then I didn't play for a while. That was all, basic, expert, advanced blend. For me, rules are important for realism. When they start to suffocate the gameplay, it's not good. But I like to, 5e is pretty much, the rules are, I don't want to say they're perfect, but what I mean is that they're perfect for the kind of DMing I do, because there's definitely realism, but at the same time, there's not a lot of battling and stifling. It doesn't stifle the whole thing. So, yeah. So what happened is, and then I played World of Warcraft for like 4.5 years at some point, and then in 2017, I wanted to get into D&D again. I went into my D&D Twitter that I'd created at some point. Came across 5e, saw people using it, caught one of the episodes, I think, of Critical Role, which was getting pretty big right then. They were using 5e. I really liked the rules. So I found a buddy of mine who knew how to use those rules, and I asked if he'd run a campaign. And I didn't want to run one right off the bat, even though I was generally the dungeon master in D&D when I played, because I didn't want to DM until I was familiar with the 5e rules. So I went in as a player, as a paladin, which is my favorite class. And yeah, so he didn't have time to create a campaign, but he could run it. So I had homebrew stuff. I'd always made homebrew stuff along the way because I just always was interested in D&D. So I gave him some content I'd created, and then he modified it for our adventure. We played, like I said, in 2017. It was a multitude of things. It was some of it was basically 1/3 of the time we got together. It was really great. I really liked the guys we were playing with and girls. And then also, when 1/3 of the time it wasn't so great because one of the guys was a bit dominating, pushy, which didn't affect me, but it affected other players. And in the last third of the games were canceled very late notice. Literally, we'd get prepared, we'd go online, everything, and then he'd say, "Oh, by the way, we're not playing." So it was frustrating. And of course, getting the groups together can be a challenge, especially good ones. Yeah, so anyway, when they talked about, at the end of 2017, they talked about playing in the new year, I said, we'll see. And I never heard from the guy again. So it really was kind of crumbling. At that point, I picked up the Dungeon Master book for 5e, and I started to learn how to be a DM. My girlfriend, who was never interested in D&D until I had her watch the 2017 game, and they encouraged her to join, and she fell in love with it. So in 2018, she asked me if I would run a campaign for her. So that was in 2018, and we've been running it since. She's now a level 26, level 25 warlock, level 1 shadow mage, or sorcerer. Anyway, mostly a warlock, and that's been amazing. She's also writing a book. She's going to be writing several books, but she's starting a book, which is like the beginnings of our campaign. So she's expanding everything that we've done and creating story out of it, which is very exciting for me. And also in 2017, I was doing some vlog posts. I was doing, even though I was in a group as a player, my vlogs were about dungeon mastering, and I started doing some stuff about world building and I created a couple different continents, and I created an adventure, and somebody asked me if I was going to publish it. At that time, I didn't know if I wanted to. I didn't want D&D to become a work thing, a job thing, something that, because one of the reasons I got back into D&D was I wanted to do my creative. I'm very creatively driven. I like to create all the time, do things creative. But I wanted, D&D was something that I didn't, like I said, I didn't want to become a job. I wanted to be somewhere where I could just go there, no pressure, just be creative. So I created a Kickstarter to maybe do this module, and then I canceled the Kickstarter, and I said, I'm just not ready. I actually took some time off of Twitter then, over a year, but that's when I was dungeon mastering 5e for my girlfriend, and that was really going really well. I was building the world. I had an 8-continent material plane. I had a second material plane, which was Faerun, which is Forgotten Realm. So I had 2 material planes in my world. And then when I got back, I missed the community. The D&D community is really cool, and I missed them. So I came back on in 2019, and I picked up the module idea that I had. It was called Frost Realm, and because I loved the idea of doing an adventure in an icy terrain. So I spent the next months finishing that. I hired an artist and got some drawings done. And in November 2019, I published my first ever Dungeons & Dragons 5e module, Frost Realm. And I'll put the links down below this. Yeah, so then it was hard because I was very excited about it. And, to my surprise, I thought maybe I'd sell some digital copies, but as it turned out, I didn't sell tons of books, of course. There's a lot of people creating content, and but the thing was, I was really, it wasn't about the money. Of course, you want to make money doing things you love, but I really wanted to get my stories out there and to inspire people and to draw them in, see what they thought of the actual adventure. But I did sell 20 books over like a 6-month period. To my surprise, like 18 of them were the printed ones, soft cover. I didn't do a hardcover. So I'm very old school. I love paper and pencil. I love books as opposed to digital content. So I was stoked that people were buying the physical books. I was also happy because the books came out better than I expected. I love the art, and I liked everything I did on the document that I created for the inside of the book. But when it all came together, when it printed, I was actually surprised how good it came out. Not compliment. I'm not trying to compliment myself. I'm just saying I really like the way it looks, and it definitely has an old school kind of sense to it, even the art. Yeah, so I knew it, but in the August of 2019, 3 months before I published Frost Realm, I had a concept for a possible next book, and but then I put that aside, went on Frost Realm. I probably over tweeted about Frost Realm because I just loved it, and even though I sold 20 books, I didn't get a lot of feedback. The feedback that I got from Frost Realm was when I got my brother came down I'm in Southern California, he's in Northern California. And he came down, which is not very often. And my girlfriend ran Frost Realm for us. I was just playing NPC characters in the group. And my brother says, this is great. You got to keep making these books. And these are just, my brother and my girlfriend are very honest people, and they don't just give out compliments. So I was very happy that he told me that I should keep making books. And then when we started getting further into the adventure, my girlfriend said, this is great, which told me that maybe the book was user-friendly for the dungeon master. And so those 2 compliments kind of sustained me, even though they're from my 2 favorite people on the planet, my brother and my girlfriend. But like I said, they're not just going to tell me that if they didn't feel it. It was just spur of the moment. So that sustained me. I admit I would love to hear more compliments. Oh, that is the wrong word, not compliments. I would love to hear more. I don't even remember the word now. I'd like to hear more about what people think of the adventure. And to that end, I very much want to run it. I ran it once I incorporated it into my girlfriend's campaign, but it was an earlier version. It wasn't even a finished book, but I really liked it. But I want to run Frost Realm more. So I will be running Frost Realm, whether it's for friends or however I do it. Yeah. So anyway, then it was hard to stop focusing on Frost Realm, but slowly I inched my way towards the new book idea, which was going to be an adventure module / campaign setting. It's a single continent, so it's not a huge setting, but it is a setting, and there's several adventures in it as opposed to 1 or 2 like in Frost Realm. Frost Realm, you can do 2 different things, so it's kind of like 2 adventures, but it's really like one big one. Yeah, so then I finally started to work on HighCon. I needed to get money for artists again. Finally got some money. and hired a new artist to do 4 illustrations. I found the guy who did the cover art. Actually, I follow him, I think, on Instagram, and I love the art, and I paid him some money to use it on my Frost Realm cover. Well, I grabbed one of his other art pieces to use for Hycon's cover. I just love him as an artist. He's awesome. I'll probably be throwing stuff up here. I don't know. And then there's this different thing. There's the illustrations that people that are in there because I hired them to do illustrations. 10 illustrations, but then I added a piece of art that I asked the guy for permission to use, and then my buddy Eric, he's in 2 of my groups. We play together as players, and I also run a group with him in it. Him and several other people. The people I play with D&D with are really great people. I've known them on the D&D Twitter universe for a couple of years, 3 years, 2-3 years or more. And so Eric drew me this wicked dragon for Frost Realm, and he's also going to be drawing a picture for my Hycon. I'm not going to say what it is, but he doesn't want to charge me. If he doesn't charge me for it, he just is passionate about D&D, which is one of the reason why I've connected with him in the first place. The people that I have in my D&D groups are extreme D&D enthusiasts, and some of them have been playing for 30 years. But anyway, yeah. So with Hycon, it's a lot of work. I spent a lot of work last August to 2020. I'm working on the bulk of it. Then I've been, and then I got some drawings done, and I'm just waiting, and I've got some more money, so I'm going to do I got 4 illustrations done. I'm going to do 6 more done. I need to build a bunch of maps, which I'm going to have to draw myself and figure out how to digitize them. With Frost Realm, I had an artist digitize them for me last time. He did a really good job. But this time I'll be trying to figure out another route. I don't know, me and my buddy will do it, or I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, because I would like to do a bunch of maps for Hycon. And I know that if I do it in a way where it's going to cost somebody, it's going to have to pay somebody to do it. It's going to probably be a lot of money. So I'm trying to figure out ways to do it with friends or myself, figure out a way to digitize it. So, So anyway, so in between though, I have been wanting to do more and more with D&D. I'm a writer. I've been a writer for a while. I self-published some books, novellas, a couple novellas, and a poetry book. And I wrote a fantasy novel, which was never edited properly. So I need to get that edited properly, and then I'll publish it. I'm a kind of writer that's not one of these writers that does zillions of details. It's much more, I write in a way where people can get stimulated and imagine worlds more than I spell every little thing out. And so the books are shorter, but I had positive feedback about the novellas. But I've decided, I want to play D&D. I work from home. I really been pursuing writing, and D&D stuff is. I found that doing Frost Realm did not make D&D feel like a job, because Frost Realm is Frost Realm. D&D is D&D. I play with my friends. It's phenomenal, and I love it. And I could do it all day long. Not all day long, but I would love to play several campaigns per week. Right now I play pretty much one group plays every other week, and I used to play every week with one group, but that's shifted over to, it's going to be every 5th and 6th week we're playing with that group. And then I play when my girlfriend has time. We run her campaign. That's a very high level, and we'll play a bunch, and then we'll not play, and then we'll play, so it's on and off. I want to play more than that. I definitely want to play more than that. So I decided, I'm going to try out maybe doing some, I guess they call it professional DMing. I don't know. I think that there's all kinds of ways that it happens. So, there's people that have streams, and then they do professional DMing, and people know who they are, and they've seen them DM, and they work with them. And I think that I'm assuming that most people charge more than I'm going to charge, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a group of 5, probably run them through Frost Realm. I'm going to try to find 5 people that I'll do a session 0 for free. We'll just build the characters, right? And then what I'm going to probably do is, for every 3-hour sessions will probably run around 3 hours, I don't know. For every 3-hour session, I would charge $6 per person. So I'll make $30, but it's for 3 hours. I'm 10 an hour. So it's not like, I really do think that I'm kind of thinking, and I've heard the DMs make more than that, but I'm not worried about it. It's not just about money. It is kind of dipping my toe in the idea of making money doing something I love, which I haven't really done other than the books that I've sold. And, but it really gets me playing more. I want to play more. My friends have regular jobs and they don't have time to be playing as much as I want to play. So, and I would love to DM some people. Then they don't have to be people that I know, or maybe some people that I know that I'm not currently playing with will jump in. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. Kind of trying to shift into an additional to writing my books. That's the other thing. The modules take a long time, whether it's because I'm waiting to have money to generate the illustrations or the actual writing. Bottom line is that like it's been about 1.5 years now since I published Rhealm, Hycon. As I did a lot of work on it, but I've definitely been waiting on and off for money for art. I try to generate a little bit of money through one of those little sites to see if people would like to support it a little bit. And I know I could do a Kickstarter and all that. I just don't want to do that. For me, it's like if I do a Kickstarter, everybody's depending on me, and that's when it starts to. I feel like it would feel like a job, and I don't want that. I've done Kickstarters with my novellas to get editors, and that worked all fine. And maybe I'll do Kickstarters later with my modules because I don't want the money part for the art to slow me down every time I'm doing a book. So I may hit a point where, excuse the language, I decide that I probably should generate some money for it so that I don't keep having to have these huge gaps between modules. So I'm talking a lot here. Yeah. So if you are interested in, there's different things. Some people don't have anybody to play with. If you're someone who don't have anybody to play with, need somebody to run a game, let's talk. We'll talk. We can, there's no charge for that. It's not just about money. I'm just, like I said, the games I'll charge a little bit, but other than that, we can talk and figure that out. I realize there's an extreme randomness to doing it as far as the group, but that's okay. If it doesn't work out, the group doesn't work out, the group doesn't work out. You guys are only gonna pay for what you play, and if there's any issues, I'm just not worried about that aspect of it. Yeah, so if you're interested in either having me DM you, whether you're a friend, whether you're not a friend, whether you can't find people to play with, whether you want to play in a new group, just play in a new group, and you can afford, $6 every week or two, depending how often we play. Let's do it, man. I would love to take some people into Rhealm. I want to take them into other things later, maybe Hycon, or I don't even know. It's really open right now. This would be my first group doing this. So yeah, if you're interested in a DM for hire, let's talk. And maybe we can get a group of 5. I'd like to have 5 people. It's a really good number. Currently I have a group with 5 and 4 in both groups. It's a great number. Yeah, let's get a group going, and we'll see. Before I get off, I should say this. There might be a way that, I'm not sure, the Dungeon Masters try to be super professional, these ones that get paid. I'm not charging a lot for one, but I'm just going to be DMing my style. Not everything's going to be perfect. I have the music, and I have to figure all this stuff out, but it's not, I'm not trying to make a perfect product, which maybe I'm sure a lot of these guys are. That's not me. I just want to play more D&D, and I trying to make a little money while doing it. I'm not going to be trying to make a perfect thing. So definitely, if you're looking for some kind of perfect, super professional setting, then I'm not your DM. If you're looking for adventure and you enjoy my style, my main focus is story and characters. I absolutely love role play. You don't have to role play, but I love to portray characters. So I will be playing a lot of characters. I play a lot in the campaigns I run. Yeah, so don't come, I'm not a good DM for you if you're looking for some kind of perfect thing, and I'm not charging a lot of money either. So I want you to meet me, see what you think, maybe even play a little bit and see what you think, and then go from there, and we'll decide, if we're going to go forward as a group. So, all right, that's enough of this. I really appreciate your time. How do you stop the recording?